is one, but I did something with it that I think you'll find interesting. I don't know if I'll put the script online. I'll kind of encourage you to go over the VORONOI chair example. But I've numbered it number 90. What I've done is I've gone in and found a way to bring out through a mesh a pretty simple. So let me swap this up for a second. Yeah, you can see a mesh here. If I put it to shaded, and then a draped surface over top. So it's a pretty simple thing to do. Grab an object and drape a surface to it. And once you get that, whatever it is, a mesh or whatever you can pull offline, you can kind of play with that a little bit as a surface. And I think that's fairly interesting. The drape tool makes a lot of sense to me as a sculptor because we're always drafting forms out of molds, clay, metal, wax, everything. So once you get that narrowed down to that, you could probably grab that surface and tuck it away in hiding. And then you could probably take your visualization off right here, which would be preview off, and you're left with a pretty cool, pattern that, it's based on a skull. It can be based on anything. It's not great art. I'll be the first to admit that, but it's an incredible script that they go through online with the VORONOI chair of populating basically a series of points. They use hoop snake. We've gone through 6 iterations, and they have a beautiful cluster that they've actually compiled for you. So if I double click that, it's just taking a little bit of time to open things up. You can go in and actually walk through the whole tutorial of the cluster that does all the work here. And yes, there's some things I had played with. Pretty familiar with all of these to follow that through: point, bounding box, VORONOI 3D, BREP edges, BREP curves, shift paths. But then I'd never really done a plane fit. I'm not sure why, and I don't really use the angle that way. I do use sort keys, and there's a polyline that comes out of it for visualization. But pretty good. Returning to your script, that they use average quite a bit to pull some points in and have controls. List items are the same. You have to be very careful with this flatten. You have to be very watchful of another flatten, and I should go back, one that you might catch you up on. Let me open it again. One that I missed going through the tutorial. You have to be very wary of this graph, which takes place at this vector 2D point. If you don't do that, you'll have trouble having the interface that you want from these points as you move them around. You will have to set your mesh plane height count to 1 for this. Otherwise, you'll have trouble with your meshes, and you may have to extend a element mesh combine clean so you get a valid mesh in the end. I'm not obviously Weaverbird is an incredibly powerful tool. I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but in the end, you're left with an awful lot of control to what you want to do, be it offset or whatever. As we go into here, you can see I can update it. I believe it has to go through quite a bit. I can offset the thickness of that. And to think of these as structures or cages or welded systems, pretty amazing. And then certainly taking it through what the Catmull-Clark subdivision does. If you're not familiar with that, play with it a little bit. So I see familiar tools keep happening. I'm going to bring us back to one subdivision, and then probably will never take it above 3. But just in case, I'm going to go into my, everything's pretty slow in this. So I'm going to take that up to, I'm going to take that up to 0, 1, 2, 4. I doubt I'll do a subdivision more than 4. And let's just try, and -1 is not going to work, so that will crash it out. I must have double clicked something there. So yeah, 4 isn't too bad. Let's just edit the snapping and go back in. But I'll leave this for you to figure out online. Like I said, I'll put that back to positive. And a pretty nice tool for grabbing some interesting geometries that are basically then draped over whatever surface you want. I've got multiple surfaces here, but as we go in and think about that object being made from that initial one, any mesh and anything I pop underneath it. So if you're familiar with vacuum formers or things like that, this could be an exercise that's worth doing. Anyway, I'll leave that without going into detail of the script. And like I said, I'm probably not going to post it out of respect for Ohm's tutorial. One worth doing. If you have trouble with it, contact me. Pretty powerful tool, pretty powerful algorithm. And I've already moved it into my, once I got it down, I moved it into my very quick Ohm snippets, which I can draw up and, just show off in teaching in a fast fashion, but also let people dissect scripts that are very interesting as opposed to just working from scratch. Thanks for watching.